All right, let's jump into another deep dive, shall we? Today we're looking at Grant Cardone's The 10X Rule.
Okay, the 10X rule.
Now, this has been making the rounds, and it's definitely sparked some, let's say, spirited conversations.
Yeah, I can see why. It's bold, to say the least.
Exactly. So we're diving in today to really unpack this. We've got some choice excerpts here to guide us. Really want to get a good grasp on what this rule's all about and, figure out if it's actually all it's cracked up to be. For our listeners, we're aiming to break down this 10X thing, see what insights we can pull out of it, and maybe even spark some of your own thoughts on how it might or might not apply to your life.
All right, sounds good. So for those who haven't encountered this yet, what is the core ideal behind this 10X rule?
Okay, so in a nutshell, the 10X rule is all about setting goals that are 10 times bigger, way more ambitious than what you'd normally consider.
10 times.
10 times. And then, here's the kicker, you got to put in 10 times the effort, the action to make those huge goals happen.
So not just aiming higher, but also working much, much harder.
Absolutely. Cardone, he's really hammering home this idea that we tend to underestimate, right? We underestimate what it really takes to achieve significant success. So think about it. Any goal you've set right now, Cardone would probably say, nope, think bigger and work harder.
I see. So basically multiply your ambition and your effort, both by a factor of 10.
Exactly. Now, one of the things Cardone really highlights as a benefit of this is that by putting in that immense effort, by shooting for something so much bigger, you're automatically increasing your chances of hitting success just by sheer volume of action, right?
So it's like if you're putting in 10 times the effort, you're 10 times more likely to encounter opportunities, make connections, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's part of it. And also, when you're hitting for something truly massive, it kind of changes your whole mindset. It creates this greater sense of purpose, this drive that you might not get from smaller, less exciting goals. And that can lead to more sustained enthusiasm, the kind you need to keep going when things get tough.
Okay, that makes sense. I can see how that could be motivating, having that huge goal in sight. And I think this is where some pushback comes in. Isn't there a risk of burnout with this approach? I mean, 10 times the effort. That sounds intense.
Right, right. And the book does sort of champion this idea of relentless effort, right? Go, go, go. But I think it's important to acknowledge that there are limits. We all have limits. You can't just keep pushing without rest, without reflection, without taking care of yourself. And if you do, well, that's where burnout comes in. And then you're really in trouble.
Yeah, sustainability's got to be a factor here. You can't just sprint a marathon, right?
Exactly. And here's another thing to consider. What if you're putting in all this massive effort, 10 times the action, but your initial strategy, your direction, is off?
Oh, I see. 10 times the effort on a flawed plan just gets you to the wrong destination faster.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, you're moving, you're hustling, but are you hustling in the right direction? That amplified action, it needs to be aligned with a solid plan, a strategy that actually makes sense. Otherwise, it's all for nothing.
So it's not just about mindless action, it's about strategic action amplified.
Precisely. Let's say, hypothetically, you've got someone running a small business, they want to expand, right? So they decide to apply the 10X rule to their marketing. They're going to wrap up their outreach, their advertising, everything tenfold. Now, if they've got a great product, if their strategy is sound, this could lead to some serious growth really fast. But what if their product isn't quite there yet? What if it's not meeting customer needs? All that increased exposure, well, it could just backfire spectacularly.
Yeah, they'd be amplifying the negatives as well.
Exactly. Or imagine someone gunning for a promotion at work. They decide to 10X their efforts, so they're taking on extra projects, working late nights, weekends, the whole 9 yards. Now, that might show dedication, but it could also lead to mistakes, to a drop in the quality of their work. And that could actually hurt their chances of getting that promotion.
So the key takeaway here is that the 10X rule, it's a powerful concept. It pushes you to think bigger, to work harder, but it's not some magic formula.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee. You need to be smart about it. You need to think about your goals, your strategy, and also your own well-being. You got to find that balance.
Right. So for our listeners out there, think about this. Even if you don't go full 10X, what if you just tried increasing your effort, your goals, even just a little bit?
What could that do for you? What doors could it open? What could you achieve if you just pushed yourself a little further than you thought possible? That's something to ponder, right?
Definitely food for thought.
Absolutely. And that's a wrap on this deep dive, folks. Until next time, keep thinking big.